You're listening to KZUM News on 89.3 KZUM Lincoln and KZUM HD. Good afternoon and welcome to today's edition of KZUM News, an hour dedicated to learning more about what is going on in Lincoln and the surrounding areas. I am the news director and your host, Amantha Dickman.
Thank you for joining us today. My name is Rebecca Ford, KZUM's newsroom intern, and I will be your host for today. The last couple of weeks, we've been covering the candidates for the primary elections that occurred on April 8th. This week, and for the next several, we will now be covering the candidates running for Lincoln City Council in anticipation of the upcoming general election on May 6th. Joining us first is candidate Aurang Zeb. First off, I just want to ask you to just tell me about yourself and your experience in Lincoln, what you do, and what made you want to run for a city council position.
Yeah, I moved here Lincoln 2003. So after this one, I did not move anywhere. So when I moved here, I have a lot of hair. No, even I don't have hair anymore. So yes, so I got involved in politics after 2016. I was before too, but not very active. So I ran first time for airport authorities, I think 6 years ago. I did not win, but I got, almost 16,000 votes. So after this one, I ran for city council 4 years ago. I did not win either. So then I ran for LD 25, did not win. So this is actually my fourth time I'm running. And this time, thanks God, I win primary. So I hope I win this time January too. So I be on top of the number 3, So that's I'm assuming. And that's all.
Gotcha. And, with the congratulations on winning the primaries, of course. But with having run for all these positions, have you felt like your policy has changed over time, or have you kind of remained having the same standpoints?
No, the policy change, is because when something come new, a little bit, is a change, but I try to stay focused. Whatever is good for Lincoln people, that's my actually goal to achieve. I don't go, just blind. I have to think about Lincoln people, whatever is good for them. I try to do my best.
Right, of course. And when, on that kind of note, I saw on your campaign website, you say that Lincoln is a great place to live, but there are some challenges living here that people face. So on that note, I want to ask, what do you think are some of the most pressing problems that citizens of Lincoln experience?
Right, we don't have a very good road here. If you look right now on 58 and Pioneer, the construction going on and they spend a lot of people money and put a patch. And I saw yesterday even, and all patch is already gone, even did not hold more than 1 week. So that's kind of challenge we have. We don't have a very good clean water, drinking water. We have some area have a very bad sewerage system. And some, we have a problem with our safety issue. So we need to concern on this one too. And we need, the leader who can listen and who can active and who can do, is the first priority of people of Lincoln, not a party or other things, So we need to do good for the people of Lincoln, for our senior, for our veteran, and all people, who live in Lincoln. We need to do good for them. And I was somewhere in meetings, so I told them we need to do, more kind of community meetings so we can understand people what they need. if we win today, and these people, they never meet our people to ask them again in 4 year, hey, what's going on in Lincoln? What you need? So if you don't ask people, you don't know what people need. And these people use, some kind of slogan, and they win after they win. Even they did not respond my email. Even they know me very well. They did not respond my email. So how can they going to respond, the local people? And we have some lot of immigrant. Myself, I'm immigrant from Sialkot, Pakistan. So I have a lot of connection with other immigration community. Like we have a 200 family recently moved from Afghanistan here in Nebraska, some in Omaha, some in Lincoln. So a lot of Iraqi people live here, Sudanese live here, and Bosnian Muslim live here, and some other, Ukraine, Russia, a lot of, Central Asia people live here. So I'm very connected to these people. So when I talk to them, everybody has some different issues, different, is a problem. Even some people is not eligible to vote, but they're living here, they have a green card, they are legal, but they have a lot of going on, but nobody go to them to ask them. They use everything, even Asian Center, for publicity. If you go there, they actually did not help. They have a budget, everything, but I need to make sure these community have a connection, have a voice inside a city building. So we need somebody who can represent them. You know what I mean? So that's the one my concern too. When I talk to people, they say, look like they don't have a voice. But these people who are already in council, when they try to get a vote, they say we are leader for everybody. But unfortunately, it's not. They even don't know how many people and how many ethnic groups live in Lincoln because they never go to them. They want use some kind of slogan and they try to win. And that's all, is we need to go ask people. We need to go to ask our elder people who living in what they call in old folks home. We need to ask them what they need. Like, if I was thinking, we can start some kind of service. We can deliver them. We can ask pharmacy to deliver them free medicine. Free service, give them to get a medicine. If we have an elder who can't cut a grass, we need some budget to cut their grass every year. So they don't have to be, is a very hardship. So this kind of things we need to do more, So that's my thinking too.
Mm-hmm. I get that. There's definitely a lot of people in Lincoln, I think that, and across the United States that often feel like they're lacking that political voice. So that is a very ambitious goal, reaching out to those communities that might feel voiceless in those ways. I want to hit back on what you said earlier about our infrastructure, specifically our roads. Very timely, especially with the quarter-cent tax that was passed also with the primaries. Can you sort of discuss your position on that tax and what you see going forward to improve our infrastructure?
Yes. So I was just sending an email to some other Chamber of Commerce or other, So my thinking on this one, I'm not a favor of tax, because we don't want to put too much burden on Lincoln people. We already have a lot of tax. We have already people approved this quarter tax so no, almost we have $85 million we raised before. And we're going to raise next 8 year a lot of money too. But issue is this one, what I feel, this tax did not go right place. You know what I mean? They use this tax. I don't know where this tax go. Honestly, when I ask them, they get mad. They don't give me answer. They think they don't have to give me answer. But unfortunately, $85 million was raised, and where this go, we did not see anywhere. Our road is bad. When we have a snow, our side street is very bad. Even this year, I have an accident on side street. I hit a tree because there was nobody clean ice, and everything become ice. And our especially elder people, they fall, and this kind of happen. So we need to make sure whatever we have a money, we already have a too many tax. Where other tax go? Why they need to get tax everything whenever they want to do, like they did arena tax, right? They do on food tax. They're still getting arena tax. And we have a lot of tax. And every time they raise a money, this is other subject, but I'm not very favored to ask more people tax. But whatever we have a tax, we have to what they call, this spend on right place. We need a change our bid system too, because right now is our bid system doesn't matter if somebody give 1 million bid on one street and other one is a 500,000. So they say we can go with 1 million because we think is very good. He have a good record. But unfortunately, I think is good record. Then they have something what they call donation check from these people. So they want to do business with them, and they don't do good job. But I give you example. You can drive here on 58, 56 and Pioneer. This road already screw up, and they was, fixing like 2-3 weeks before because I live this area, so I saw this one. I can send you picture too if you want to see. But these people is not doing great job. They just want to do, raise money, and I don't know where this money go. So Lincoln people need to make sure whatever they collect, this mean we need to see this money. We need our good road, good water system, good electric system, good sewerage system. We need to approve this one, everything. So this kind of thing, I did not see this one,
Mm-hmm.
That's my main concern, If we have a money, we already proved this money. So we need to know where this money go. We need to put focus on this one, because Lincoln people get benefit from this money.
Mm-hmm. Right. You think there's an issue with the transparency about where the money's what's happening with it and where it's being allocated.
Yeah, that's what we need to know first. And if I elected, I want, make sure every road and everything is like a very good condition. So that's my main goal too. And we have a good water, clean water everybody have, and good sewerage system too. And that's, our three basic jobs, safety, good road, clean water, and what they call, is electricity too. So about electricity, I already give them advice. We need to do some, is what they call electric from sun. So we can have this one, and this is more cheaper than, getting electricity from other resources. So I think is getting electricity from sun, that is more cheap because all day we can get a free, is a electricity. And I actually from Pakistan, I went there back home. So what people doing, if somebody, have a lot of extra electricity from sun, they give to government and government give to other neighborhood and they give cheap price. So that's why people get, is a more benefit. So we need to do this kind of stuff too.
Gotcha. And sort of going off of that, I want to ask, with it being such a concern that citizens are kept in the loop, how would you try to do that? How would you try and keep citizens informed of what's going on with, where our tax money is being allocated or what's going on with infrastructure?
Yeah, if I win, I can put a report on website, try to get at least, monthly report. Okay, this money we collect and this money we spend on this one. We have a bid on higher bidder was this one. We go from here to this one. So we can show everything to public so people understand where our money going. If we hiding from people, did not tell them where this money going, this means something going on there, something wrong there. So if I collected, I can tell them everything. Okay, this money we collected, from these taxes, and this one go to school, this one go here, there. So all, data sheet we need to show to people. Even not if we can do weekly, that's be great. But if we do monthly, that's be great. This is 12 times a year. So Lincoln people who work hard for money, and pay tax, they need to know where this money goes. So I think we should have in Lincoln website so we can put data there and people can go and look and even give advice. Even they can do, is a option there like me and you and third person who can go there and say, hey, okay, I need to know where this one goes, which one, and this is my advice. So if you ask advice, I just put on my Facebook, I say, what street you need to repair? And somebody say all of them. And someone say we need to know, from 38 to 40 or 48. Some say, we need this from Pioneer Boulevard to 56 to go up. We need to repair this one too. So if you drive everywhere, it's just, and we don't have a very good bus system either. So I want to mention this story. When I moved here 2003, I moved from, East Coast, from Washington, D.C. and Virginia area. They have a very good bus system, every 50 minutes bus run. But when I moved here in Lincoln, I used to live by 17 and Old Cheney, and I asked somebody I want to go North First and Cornhusker. So they say bus system is very bad here, so you can take taxi or something else. But this time, like 23 years ago, taxi system was very expensive too in Lincoln because there was no Uber, no nothing. So I took a bus from 14 and Old Cheney. Oh my gosh, took me all day to get there on Cornhusker and First Street because they draw me on downtown 11th and no. Then I change a bus. I don't know this time where bus this was keep taking me. And then I think almost 6 o'clock they draw me there. So I asked driver, what time bus going back? He said there is no bus after 6:50, 6:30. So you have to get something else. So then I call somebody else and they pick on me. They say, we told you this don't need a car, this bus system is not good. So still is not good. I was thinking, I give suggestion already. We need like a train system around, called metro. In Washington, D.C., I saw this kind of things, I've been in England, British, they call tube, but here they call Washington, D.C. area called metro system. And New York, they call subway. We need this kind of, train. We already have a track around Lincoln. So we can use same track, but we can just have a, maybe 1-2 train who can go every 15, 30 minutes around the Lincoln. So Lincoln people can get this benefit. That's my thinking too.
I think that's a very ambitious effort, and I think that would definitely be more of an extended project. On that note, I want to ask where do you think where would you like to collect that funding from? How do you see that plan playing out?
We already have a lot of funding. Where I was looking, when I pay my host tax, we have a lot of funding there. But again, it's smart things. Whatever you have to spend right. You know what I mean? What we need first. Like I just give example, like 4 or 5 years ago, I saw, they put millions on city building, even don't need it. They don't need it, put a cushion seat or other thing. They can use this same building, same seat where there was people living before. So this current government city council, what they did, they put a lot of people money on city council. Just this is the one example. And I think this is a waste of money. We don't need, put a fancy seat there, everything. So this look like a King of London building, We can have a same building who was more than 100 a year, whatever is going. But this money we can spend on public, like a bus system or train system. But again, we don't put tax more on people. Whatever we have to put this money on right place. We have to work smart, not very hard. What I think every time. We have to work smart. Whatever we have money, we can use this money in right place. And unfortunately, this our current city council, they're not using this money on right place. They're using where they can get benefit. And they go in city buildings, look cool. Why, have a nice mirror, everything, have a eagle there, we can put this money on people. That's my thinking always, because this is the people money, and this people money should be spent on people.
Thank you so much for your thoughts on that, Zeb. I want to go ahead and sort of pivot our focus onto your thoughts on housing. Um, Definitely at the forefront of a lot of people's minds right now. Particularly, I want to ask how you plan to keep it affordable and accessible.
Okay, so I'm in construction business too. I have a construction company, Even I flip a house too. So my first thinking about affordable housing, I don't know. They use this word affordable housing, affordable housing. When I ask them what mean to you, but problem is here they keep raising more tax, right? So middle class, if you know, last 4 years we have everything expensive. Even food is very expensive. Even food is very expensive. Before I used to go $100, I do shopping for a week. It's very good. No, I last time I went there, I just buy almonds, some other stuff, $320, $350. So is everything expensive? How can people going to do affordable house? If you have a house, you need to keep payment, everything. And a lot of people I saw, their house go foreclosure because they have enough money to pay all expensive. So we need to do, is a new zoning system and keep this amount in minimum so everybody can have a good house and good life. This not mean, you just start building some in downtown, put apartment there, and people lose a house and they put in apartments. Everybody should enjoy their life. If, some people, I can say, if rich people can have a good house, middle class who working very hard, they have a 2, 3 kids to feed everything, they can enjoy life too. We don't put them in like a cage. Apartment, I used to live in apartment too. Apartment for me is just small cage where you can't do anything. If you have a house, you can do other stuff. I think is we have to put more effort. What mean to you affordable housing? So my mean, if you keep everything in what they call right price, so people can afford house. You know what I mean? And by federal, we need, interest is low because last government screw up very bad. Interest go 8.5 and people can't afford a house. So people will start losing a house. So no, I hope this current government is good for people if they can, lower the price, like interest or other thing. This even it's federal issue, but affect Lincoln people too. If you have a 2.5 or 3.5, interest, you can buy easily house and your income, even 35,000 or 55,000 a year, you can, have a what they call bank gives you loan on this price, and you can have a nice house and you can keep this one, and people can pay tax. So that's why I keep saying what last government did. They say 8 years ago, even 4 years ago, they say we're not going to raise a tax. But what they did, they raise your house price up. Like my house is go every year 50,000 up. So no, you have to pay tax, everything on top of this one, right? So they play smart, but they think we are stupid, but we're not stupid. We understand this one. One side you say you're not going to raise a tax, and other side you raise a house price. What they call, is legally what they use this word, is a assessment. So house assessments go up, and then people start losing a house too. So affordable housing mean to me, we need to do some, is a more zonings, and we need to do is a easy so people can, is a get a minimum or, is a affordable price so people can build a house. And definitely who don't have a money at all, like a homeless or other things and very low income, we need to do for these people too. But we need to see budget, what our budget for. So, I don't want to see anybody living on O Street and sleeping there, because I saw some people sleeping there too. So what happened? I used to go a lot of time is what they call is a Saturday market, farmer market. So really, this is true story. I was walking there, and one was veteran there sitting there, and he called me. He said, "Sir," can you buy for me breakfast? I say, sure, let's go. So when I took him inside, there is a Miller coffee shop on by P and 8th Street. So when I took him there, so I asked this girl, I say, can you give him coffee? And he said he needs some burritos, breakfast too. So I asked her, and she gave him, and he sit down next to me. I was going to meet somebody, and he started talking to me. He said, actually, I'm a veteran. And I feel very sad and bad too. This veteran don't have a home, don't have money to even eat a breakfast. So we need to do for these people too, who, lost a job, or our veteran, our senior, who's sitting on street. We have to do something for them too. And we have to think some budget. So again, we have a lot of money, but this money we need to spend on people, not on own cushion seats. That's, I think.
And talking about sort of your focus on economics, and even people without shelter and the crises we're experiencing there. Our unemployment rate currently is at 3%, and that's a rate we haven't seen since the pandemic. I want to ask how you plan. Do you have any focuses or any plans on addressing that, or is it an immediate focus for you?
Yeah, I support a lot of local business. It's a small business. So what I understand, if we give more people what they call special classes in school or community center, so how can they open a business and we don't tax them too much, and everybody have as more people have more business, we can bring big industry too. Like, we have already Kawasaki or other some industry we already lose. When I moved here, there was Kobicar, one printing press. So my first job was there. Then was Shopko on 70th and O Street. Even they're not anymore Shopko anymore. So we lose some business too. So we need to bring a lot of business back. And this Kobicar printing press, I think they moved to Canada this time. And I think there was a lot of people was working that time. So we need to bring other business here so we can have a more job. I was talking to somebody yesterday about we have a very good two kind of, is a opportunity here. We have a very good meat and we have a lot of cornfield, right? So if, as a Muslim, if we call halal and kosher meat. If we do this one kosher or halal meat, we can export this one meat to all over the world, in Middle East, everywhere, even in Lincoln. When I eat halal or kosher, I have to buy from other state or other city or do myself because I don't want to use other ones. So this is my other suggestion too. We can bring more job, just do little things like kosher way or halal way. It's same thing, kosher or halal. If we do kosher, we have a more buyer. They can buy from us, even give us more money. It's expensive. So we can bring more industry, more business, and we support small business, own business, who, let's say if we have a printing press in Lincoln, we should support them, not buy from website, even it's cheaper, then these people lose a business. When local business lose a business, then they shut off, then worker is going to be more, people don't have a work. So we have to think smart too. So we can, what they call buy local, produce local, so everybody can be happy. So that's my one thought too. And give people this thinking, give them lecture, and then by cost, we have to do something with cost too, because we don't want more expensive than other, and then people have to go different country even. So we don't want to do that. When you lose a job, we lose people, and then everything, even you make very cheap, people can't afford because people don't have money. If people have a job, somebody bringing every check, 5 to 1,000 or $1,500 every week, they can buy even expensive stuff. But if you don't have money and you have just $100 or $150 a week, even $1 stuff from dollar store you're not going to buy because you don't have a left store. So that's my thought. We need more business here, bring more business, more opportunity, and we can, do for buy local, sell local, and this kind of thing, so we can have a more job, more money, and everybody can be happy.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Zeb. In the time we have left, I just want to ask you one more question. It's very clear to me that you're very passionate about the work you're doing and your role in Lincoln. I want to ask you, what do you love about Lincoln?
Say again.
I just want to ask, what do you love about Lincoln?
I love people. They are nice people. I want just mention a story. I was there before yesterday at a staple on O Street and by, I think is a 48 or yeah, there is a staple store. I went there to print some of my political stuff there. When I came outside, so unfortunately my car was out of gas because I have a car issue, needle show. I have a full tank, but it's not. So I take this red tank out. So I was looking where is the closest gas station. So I walk, and there was guy sitting inside a van. He was looking at me, and he came outside. He said, "Hey, sir." I say, "What's going on?" He said, "Are you going to go to get us some gas?" I say, "Yes, I'm looking because somehow my car needle is bad and I can't figure out and know I'm out of gas." So he said, "I can take you gas station." I say, "No, you sure?" He said, "Yes, I can take you gas station." So he gave me a ride, and I went there. I bring a gas and came home. So this kind of thing is Lincoln have, big city don't have. So I love this, this kind of place. Even he did not charge me any money, no nothing. He just helped me, and he don't know me. And he say, "I just try to help you because I saw you. You're going to walk." So I love these people, And my message to Lincoln people: I love you, and you love me. And I ask you your vote this time. Yes, I'm immigrant. I'm Muslim too, and I'm not a very rich guy, but I believe his hard work, and God give me everything. So I want to return to Lincoln. Give me actually a lot of things. So this kind of things you're not going to see in big state, big city. This is just you're going to see in Lincoln, Nebraska.
Thank you so much for all of your words. This is definitely a very special, very beautiful community, and I appreciate you discussing all of that. That's about all the time I have for today. Thank you so much for speaking with me, and best of luck in the general election. To begin our overview of the candidates for City Council in the general election on May 6th, we just finished speaking to candidate Aurang Zeb regarding his policies and his goals if elected to a Lincoln City Council seat. We're now coming up on our first break of the hour. When we get back, we'll speak with at-large Chair Sändra Washington regarding her focuses and priorities as she runs for election for the third time. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Support for KZUM comes from Lincoln Pharmacy, a local neighborhood pharmacy located at 33rd and A Streets, offering medication therapy management, medical supplies, citywide prescription delivery, vaccinations, and more. Open Monday through Friday from 8:30 a.m. to 6 p.m. and Saturdays from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. More information at lincoln-rx.com.
And by
Support for KZUM comes from No Coast Roller Derby, a skater-owned and operated nonprofit organization since 2005. The next home game of the 2025 season is Saturday, May 24th at the Lincoln Sports Foundation Complex at 7600 North 70th Street. Doors open at 4 and the first bout starts a little after 5 p.m. Tickets and more information are available at nocoastrollerderby.com.
For 50 years, CenterPoint has provided mental health and substance use services in Lincoln. In 2020, CenterPoint added primary care services, and now they are expanding with their new campus for health and well-being. At the campus, primary care offerings are available for all ages, whether you are enrolled in the CenterPoint programs or not. Services include immunizations, women's health care, STD testing, allergy management, physicals, and sick visits. CenterPoint has low and no-cost options for those who are eligible. Appointments may be scheduled by phone at 402-475-5161. More information about CenterPoint services is available at www.centerpoint.org.
Welcome back to KZUM News. My name is Rebecca Ford, KZUM's news intern, and I will be your host for the remainder of this episode. Today, we're speaking with candidates running for Lincoln City Council in the general election on May 6th. Before the break, we spoke with candidate Aurang Zeb about his policy and his platform. Now we're here with our at-large chair, Sändra Washington, to learn a little bit more about her focuses and priorities as she runs for election for the third time. Your big goals is making sure that people in Lincoln have a seat at the table.
Yes.
And I think it's pretty fair to say that right now we're pretty divided and a lot of people feel like they don't have a voice necessarily. How do you hope to maybe bridge that gap and create places at the table for citizens?
Well, that's a really good question, because certainly what we're dealing with right now on a national scale tends to create division. And I think that when we look nationally, I think we see strife in Congress. We see strife with the current administration and folks who are marching and advocating for a different way. And I think we've been moving in that direction for a long time, because the previous administration also had detractors and people who were upset. And I think that it's been easier and easier in the last 20, 25 years to sort of find your own camp and to separate yourself by political party, which I don't think serves us very well, because very little is absolute, one thing or the other. And we are complicated people because we're human. Humans are complicated, beautiful but complicated. And we have different positions on different issues. And so what I want to try to do is to model that we may not always be in agreement, but we can always agree to work with each other instead of against each other. Working against each other doesn't help anybody. It doesn't move the needle forward, doesn't move us forward. It doesn't create success for all of us. But if we can figure out how to set aside the differences that divide us, recognize that there are differences, because those are valid, but find those places where we can work together, that is the best way to do it. And I've been in so many situations where people say that the pie is only so big, or that, there's only enough for 8 slices or 8 people or 10 people. And what I find that's not really the case. I don't like to work off of a mentality of there's just never going to be enough. And so, you're picking at crumbs. I sort of work off the mentality that we can make the pie bigger. We can make the pizza bigger. We can make the table bigger. And so we need to have different voices come to the table. And sometimes someone may come to the table and say, I just wanted you to hear this thing. And then they walk away satisfied, having been heard, having been seen. We make better decisions when there are decisions made by lots of people. When there's lots of input, we get a lot more information than we have if we're only working with 3 or 4 people. And I think those better decisions are what going to make us more successful as a community. So I'm always trying to figure out ways to bring more people into the conversation, the discussion, a seat at the table.
How do you think we can facilitate that conversation or make it more accessible?
Well, sometimes it's about inviting people down to City Hall and asking them to testify, right, to come before council and speak. But that's pretty intimidating. It doesn't fit in everybody's schedule. And so I think the best way to do that is to often go out into community. So I spend a lot of time at neighborhood associations around town so that I can listen to what their issues are. I don't often go in and say, I'm here to speak of this issue. I mean, yes, I do get invitations, but more often I say, would it be all right if I come to your meeting tonight? And then I sit and listen to what the neighborhood is talking about. They have a full agenda. They have lots of things they're trying to get accomplished. And the only thing I'm really trying to do is to understand what issues are motivating this neighborhood association. And then over here, what issues are there with another neighborhood? I try to get to a variety of community events, places where I am incredibly comfortable and places where I'm a little uncomfortable but curious, so that I can hear how different people are reacting to different issues and what makes them feel good about Lincoln.
Mm-hmm. Thank you so much for speaking about that, Sändra. I appreciate it. I think that this is definitely a time when people even though we are very divided, I think people are looking for ways to reach each other. And so I appreciate you speaking on that. I want to turn back and discuss some of your goals for this campaign.
Okay.
And first, just a general overview. Can you tell me about some of your priorities?
I have a lot of priorities, which is kind of, that's the challenge. But I put a lot of time into affordable housing. I know it is critically important that people have a place they can afford to live, and a place that is quality, meaning that it's a healthful environment. And there are so many people in our community who put more than 30%. I mean, that would be a dream for many, many households. They put more than 50% of their income into their housing expenses, which leaves them a lot less for other things. And there are certainly households that are putting 60%, which means that they make choices between medicine and food and utilities. And that is a really hard decision to make with your family when all of those things are important and necessary. So affordable housing is an issue for me. Economics is important to me, and that can be, of course, parsed lots of different ways, and I need to explain. I was not a business major. I did not study economics in college. But when I talk about economics, I'm thinking about workforce, having the workforce we need in Lincoln so that businesses can grow and prosper. I know that there are a lot of folks who work 2 jobs or 3 jobs part-time, and they may not be well-paying jobs. They're probably close to minimum wage, and that may be satisfying or it may not be satisfying. I know that if you're working 2 or 3 part-time jobs, your schedule is constantly in flux and you don't have as much continuity and assurance that you're going to be home every day when your kids get home from school. And that makes it hard, right? And so families need to be able to have some kind of confidence in their schedule. And so full-time employment or 2/3 or 3/4 employment with a well-paying job is really everyone's goal. You want to do work that's meaningful and that pays you fairly and well for the work that you do. And that's an economic issue. So sometimes it's workforce training that needs to be addressed. Sometimes it is sort of business incentives and like what encourages businesses to come to Lincoln or to stay in Lincoln and put down roots. So it's economics in lots of different ways. It's holding the line on property tax as much as we possibly can. And we've been able to keep the tax levy flat or drop it for the last 4 years, which is good. I know people want more. And then the conversation becomes, what are we willing to give up? Are there services that the city provides now that we would give up if people wanted their taxes to go down even further? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
With all your different priorities, have those remained constant throughout your terms, or have those sort of shifted, or what does that look like for you?
Well, of course there's some shift as I learn more about what the city's needs are. And I didn't even mention public health and safety, which is a priority of mine because I really want our community to be safe and healthy. And that means being focused on the things that keep us safe, looking at data rather than just hearsay. And it's also sort of the public health portion of that. That priority. It's not just police and fire, critically important, absolutely critically important. We want to make certain that we've got the staffing we need, that they've got the equipment that they need to do a good job, and they've got the training they need. But then we also want to look at what the Lincoln Lancaster Health Department does and what are those other things that we do for public health. Some of that is a utility issue, like do we have clean drinking water? Yes. Are we kept abreast of like what's happening around us environmentally? And I love that the health department is always out there with, this is what the air quality is today. It's burning in Kansas. Some of you may want to stay inside. It's like, okay, thank you. And other things that the health department does to help keep our community safe. Those things are important too. Infrastructure, it's kind of boring. It's a nuts and bolts kind of thing, but infrastructure is really important to me because it's about assurances the community has that the roads we drive on will be in good condition. And sometimes some of the roads are in fair condition. I'm not going to say that every road is in great condition, but the roads we drive on are in fair to good condition, that when we turn on the light switch, electricity, we have light, we've got water when we flush our toilets, it all goes away. So infrastructure is really important. And if we're not thinking about it, that's if the residents aren't thinking about it, that's a good thing. It means that there's no question. You turn on the faucet, the water's clean. You flip the light switch, you have lights. That's what the rest of us are paying attention to. We're trying to pay attention to make sure that there is some consistency around infrastructure. And then one of the issues that I am so excited about, and I was a little hesitant to really let folks know how much I care about trees. But it is part of my profession. My professional upbringing involved conservation and trees. But I think of trees as infrastructure. And when we drive around Lincoln, when I moved to Lincoln in 1990, a friend came to visit me and she said, "Show me everything in Lincoln. I want to see what this community is like." And I'm like, I just got here 2 months ago. I actually don't know everything about Lincoln. And she said, "That's okay. Let's get lost together." Oh. And I said, "Okay, Mandy, let's do this." And so we drove around lots and lots of Lincoln in every quadrant. And she came away saying, "There's not really a bad neighborhood in Lincoln. I would live any place that you've driven past." And we did drive past neighborhoods with small houses and neighborhoods with large houses. And I didn't live in a large house. I lived in the near south at the time. And we were driving around that. And she goes, "I think everything is so nice, but I think it's also the trees. Every neighborhood looks comfortable and inviting." And I was like, I guess that's right. And I did see the sign when I drove into town, Tree City USA. And we were the first. I didn't know that. So we were the first Tree City USA. Might have something to do with Arbor Day being based right here in Lincoln. And trees really do make our neighborhoods feel wonderful. They make, they give us shade, they clean the air, home for wildlife, all of those environmental issues. But they also change up how we perceive place. Shaded streets, people tend to slow down and drive a little bit slower on streets that have that tree canopy over it, as opposed to the interstate where there's no trees around. And yes, the interstate has a higher speed limit, but even I watch the behavior of people driving on Nebraska Parkway or Cornhusker Highway, and they drive faster, even if the speed limit is 45. There's some amount of speed happening on Cornhusker. But if the speed limit is 45 and you're driving down, South 27th that's got trees on it, you naturally just slow your car down. And I think, oh, that's really, really interesting. Sure. So, I just look at that and go, all right, so trees do other things for us besides that. And we have to plan for trees. And we've had a lot of trees. They've aged up in lots of places where trees are all the same age. And so trying to work on that urban forestry, whether they're street trees owned by the city or they're trees in parks or they're private trees. I think we need to put a lot of energy into our trees so that in 100 years, the people who live in Lincoln, our grandkids, go, wow, there's still trees. Lincoln is still the pretty place that it's always been. And it's, it's the comfortable place where, So anyway, trees are one of the things I am going to put a lot of focus toward if I'm elected to one more term.
Fantastic. I want to discuss a little more about what you think has gone well for you in terms of your previous experience. What have been some of the highlights or the big accomplishments that you feel the best about?
Well, I feel the best about all the people I've had a chance to meet and interact with. I've learned more in the last 6 years than I can even imagine. I can't write down everything that I've learned. I've learned so much from residents who've sent me emails or who've called me, who stopped me on the street, in the grocery store, at neighborhood meetings. It has been a huge education for me, not only in what their hopes and dreams are, but how they see the future of Lincoln and what they want for Lincoln. I love that my brain gets expanded every time an issue comes before City Council, and I hear 4 or 5 different opinions about that issue. Because it's like, okay, I thought that this was a simple issue, that there'd only be, there'll only be 2 or 3 different, people speaking or positions, and then I find out, no, there's a half a dozen, or there's 7, or whatever. And so I really appreciate my chance to learn and people. But I really am proud of the fact that we've been able to find a second water source for Lincoln, so that as Lincoln continues to grow, we will continue to have plenty of fresh water. And that was one of the things that I was really focused on when I ran 4 years ago, and really glad to see that that's going to come to fruition. We've made a number of good steps. I'm really pleased with all the work that we're doing with affordable housing and the coordinated action plan for affordable housing. Our climate work plan, thrilled about. Anything that helps us to become a more resilient community, resilient in terms of climate, and resilient in economics and everything, but I'm talking right now about climate. So anything that helps us become more resilient is going to help Lincoln be successful for 100 years. And my horizon when I look at Lincoln isn't to fix a problem that we have today that can be fixed quickly and we move on. That's necessary, but my horizon is a horizon that's at least 50 years. So I'm always looking 50 and 100 years into the future. What decisions can we make today that assures that Lincoln is still going to be a wonderful place to live in 100 years? So a lot of the climate work that we're doing falls into that category, where we're looking at trees, where we're looking at native plants, where we're looking at how to conserve water without people having to make huge steps and changes. But it's like, you know what, if we just continue to provide education and we change metering or we change something else, that all of a sudden we're just slowly improving our resiliency. And it's almost happening intuitive. And so that's a good thing for me. And I think that's a good thing for Lincoln. I'm pretty happy about where we've been able to go on that front. Providing enough funding for police and fire that they've gotten, I think, the salaries that they deserve. That's been good. And watching the police department slowly come back up to the number of police officers that we need. That's been very, very gratifying. Every time we have another class graduate and they take their oath, it's like, okay, now we're at 94%. Now we're at 93%, so that incremental lift. And so I think when I came out of council, we were somewhere around 90%, 90% of capacity. And so it was like, okay, we need more and we need more. And we're creeping past 94%, 95%. So that's wonderful. Getting more fire stations. I mean, all of those basic safety things, that's been a real lift for me. And then seeing it feels like an exponential growth in welcoming in our community. Counselors have an opportunity and a responsibility to do more than just come to council meetings on Mondays. We have a number of committee assignments that we also have responsibility for. And I was lucky to pull the straw that included the New Americans Task Force. And so I get a chance to interact with 4 dozen organizations that work to welcome in residents from as refugees and immigrants from other places. And when I see the expansion of the work that's done to make these people feel welcomed in Lincoln, I'm just really impressed with the openness and the kindness of Lincoln. And not just those organizations, but all of the thousands of people who interact in those organizations, whether it's the Food Bank, or it's the Asian American Center, or the Malone Center. All of us who are working together to welcome in new residents. It's wonderful. I'm just so impressed with Lincoln. We seem to have a heart that is ready to accept more residents. Regardless if they're coming from Somalia or Ukraine or and I realize these are not the kind of immigrants we think, but we have in-country refugees. We had a huge influx of folks who came up from Louisiana and Texas after Hurricane Katrina, and they've settled in Lincoln, and they've brought with them, foods that I adore and new restaurants and a new take on a lot of different things. So I appreciate that our community's been welcoming of those folks as well.
As we begin to wrap up, I want to ask, you touched on it quite a bit in the beginning of this discussion, but I want to ask you more about what you love about Lincoln.
Oh, what do I love? Well, I love the neighborhoods.
Yes.
I feel like Lincoln is the right size for somebody who wants to feel connected to their neighborhood, feel like that they could reach out to government. Like, government's not so far away. We're really a phone call, an email. You can come down to City Hall. All of those things makes it possible for people to feel connected to others. And I think that we've got enough things going on to keep me entertained. I will tell you, I'm not 25. I'm not 35. So my entertainment needs might not be as robust as someone younger, but I think that there's a lot of things here in Lincoln. Our parks and our trails are fabulous.
Yes, they are. I was just walking on one yesterday. Beautiful. Great. Well, thank you so much. I just have one more question. If you have anything else you want to share about your campaign, about Lincoln, about what you're doing, anything, just now is the moment to share.
Well, I really appreciate the amount of support I've had. I came through the primaries in a good position, and I just hope that people feel like I've done the job that I said I would do, and that you trust me to continue on for 4 more years. So I hope that folks place their vote for me.
Thank you so much, Sändra. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
We just finished speaking with at-large chair Sändra Washington to learn a little bit more about her focuses and priorities as she runs for election for the 3rd time. Before we spoke with Washington, we sat down with candidate Aurang Zeb to learn his action items and platform as we head into the elections for Lincoln City Council in the general election on May 6th. Next week, we'll be speaking with 2 more candidates to discuss their policies and platforms ahead of the general elections. That's all for today. Thank you for listening.
We are fast approaching the end of the hour, so here are your reminders for today. The KZUM Newsroom is always open to hearing about any questions, concerns, suggestions, or even any story ideas that you might want to share with us. All you have to do is give us a call at 402-474-5086, extension line 6. If you give us a call and we aren't available, don't forget to leave a voicemail. Or, if you aren't much of a phone person, you can also find our social media handles and more newsroom information at kzum.org under that About tab. Speaking of our website, if you happen to miss a show, you can always head to the KZUM News tab, where we archive all of our shows and include a transcript with links to that day's content. And lastly, I just want to give a shout out to Jack Rodenberg of the Rodenberg Music Experience. He put together all of the amazing original music that our news program uses. So once again, thank you, Jack. That wraps up our reminders for now. As you head out into the world, I hope you have a lovely day. Thank you for listening, and we hope you'll join us next time. You just finished listening to KZUM News, an original production of KZUM Radio that airs every Saturday at 11 a.m. Coming up next is Beta Radio, so stay tuned.